All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this early December night. So the webinar this evening is going to give you an overview specifically of our professional development offering for this spring coming up. I'm Jennifer Rosado, and I'm one of the project leads for the Mobile CSP project. I'm based out of the College of St. Scholastica, which is in Duluth, Minnesota. We're expecting a big snowstorm, 4 to 8 inches tonight. Fingers crossed. They cancel school tomorrow. I'm sure that's what my kids are saying. But I am in the computer science department here and have been working on mobile CSP for I think about 4 years now. This will be my 4th year working on it. And collaborate heavily with our folks in the School of Education and specialize in online professional development delivery. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to introduce you to Cassie and Shannon, the other 2 folks that are joining us on the webinar tonight. Cassie, why don't we start with you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Cassandra Bronick, and I work as data specialist on the Mobile CSP project. You've probably seen my name on a couple emails that went out to you. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling the best this evening. That's why I'm hiding behind the Mobile CSP logo, but I'm really excited that all of you are here, and I hope to have communications with you in the future, and I hope you enjoy the session.
Great. Thanks, Cassie. All right, Shannon.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chandan Sarkar. I'll be your master teacher for this upcoming PD. I've served as master teacher for the Mobile CSP group for the last 3 summers now, and I'm looking forward to teaching this PD, and I'm going to hand things back over to Jen right now. By the way, I'm a high school teacher in my day job here in Stamford, Connecticut. I teach at West Hill High School.
Thanks, Shannon. So you are probably you might be interested in the spring 2018 PD. We've got a short slide deck to run through, and then we'll open it up to questions. Even if you're not interested in the spring 2018 PD, but you just have questions in general about our professional development, we're more than happy to answer those, and this will kind of address some of them too. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. So first, just a little bit about Mobile CSP. It is an advanced placement curriculum that was designed to meet the computer science principles framework that College Board issued a couple years ago. We focus on mobile computing in Mobile CSP, so there's a number of different curricula that are out there. Ours takes the idea that kids are very interested and engaged in their mobile devices and uses that as a hook to get them into computer science. So in the course, students build socially useful mobile apps, and we're happy to say that starting next year, not only will they be able to build mobile apps for Android devices, but they'll also be able to build apps for iPhones and iPads, so both Android and iOS. We have a project-based focus, and I'll walk you through a little bit of that when we take a look at the student curriculum, and an emphasis on writing and communication. We also try to foster collaboration and creativity as much as possible through a couple of features in the curriculum that I'll point out as well as we go through. There's a large network of computer science teachers around the country that have this same goal of bringing CS education to all students. So when you join the Mobile CSP group, you join and you get to be a part of that entire network. We have a Mobile CSP team that has about 6 or 7 people these days, based out of Connecticut and here out of Minnesota. Then we have a group of wonderful master teachers all over the country that do a great job supporting participants. Each of our master teachers in a year works with a cohort of about 10 teachers to help support them in learning Mobile CSP and then help support them while they're teaching Mobile CSP. So this could be you someday, hopefully this spring, I should say. So what are some of the reasons you might select Mobile CSP? Well, our pass rate for the AP exam was just a bit above the national average, so our students did quite well on the test, and that was true for underrepresented students as well as other students in the course. Students that go through the course say that they plan to take additional computer science courses in college after they complete Mobile CSP, so I think that's a good motivator whether or not they're even planning on being a computer scientist in terms of major or career. They're interested enough in computer science that they want to keep going and keep learning about it. And then 93% of our teachers said that they received excellent support from Mobile CSP. So that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, that we're there for you and we will do what we can to help support you as you're teaching the course. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo and point out a couple of things about the student and teacher materials. The links are in the slide deck, but I'll ask Cassie to put them into the chat window here too. So it's just course.mobilecsp.org and then teach.mobilecsp.org. You might have checked them out already, but just to give you a quick overview of some things to look for. So our courses are all completely online. All of the student materials that you can have students sign up for the course directly. All of the teacher materials like lesson plans that you can access directly are all available online. When you come to the course, if you've never been there before, you'll need to register and sign in with a Gmail account. All right. So if you don't have a Gmail-based account, you'll want to create one for the PD and then have students create them for the course. When you arrive at the homepage, this is on the student side, and you can tell it's the student side because it has the blue bar. The teacher side has a green bar at the top. You'll see a syllabus that lists the units that we have. So we have 6 main units. There's one initial unit just on getting started and some setup things. Then units 2 through 7 are the main content units. And we don't separate out big ideas. We touch a little bit on many of the big ideas in many of those units. Some of them focus on some of the big ideas a little more heavily in them, like Unit 7 focuses on the internet. The performance task information is built into it, and then we have some additional resources at the end to help you prepare for the AP exam if your students are taking that, or just to review at the end as well. And then some things you might do with students after the AP exam, as well as some additional resources that you might find interesting to use with your course. So I'm just going to dive into Unit 2 and take a look at one of the first lessons using App Inventor that you would teach to your students. So first, the beginning of each unit has a little overview here that gives some terminology and vocabulary, as well as talks about what students are going to do in there. So that overview lesson is there. This second lesson is the first app that they'll create. It's called I Have a Dream tutorial, and it's what we would call a soundboard app, where you would create an app that has an image on it. When you click the image, it plays a sound. This one happens to play Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, his I Have a Dream speech, hence the name of the app. So when you're looking at our lessons, a couple of things to point out, and I think this is one thing teachers appreciate about the curriculum. You can use them directly like this, and you can have students watch the video. You can play the video for them. They can build that tutorial, follow that tutorial to build the app. Or you can have students open, or you can provide printed copies of a printed version of the lesson that students can follow along with that way. So it's totally up to you what you want to use in the class, and you'll have to think about your students and which they would prefer. Or, like I often give students an option if they want to rewatch the video or they want to use the Google Doc, totally up to them. Underneath that, you'll see that there's some self-check questions. So on each of the lessons, there will be some of these formative assessment exercises that you can review, have students use to review the lesson. At the end, and some of them I'll just point out, include Quizly programming pieces, so you get to do some interactive coding there. And it looks like App Inventor, but not quite all the features of App Inventor. And then down at the very bottom, there is a portfolio reflection. So students in the course would maintain a portfolio using something like Google Sites, Google Docs, Google Classroom. Google Sites is the default that we recommend, but if you've got other tools that you use in your class, that is just fine. That portfolio reflection, then there's a set of questions for each of the lessons that you can assign to students. And that helps develop their writing skills, and some of these questions are designed to align with the questions that are on the performance task, so they get some practice writing those ahead of time. Okay, so that's the I Have a Dream tutorial. Then there's in a lesson about the internet and the cloud, so one of the introductory ideas about how the internet works. Then there's I Have a Dream Part 2, which is also a tutorial. And then skipping down a little bit further, there's I Have a Dream projects. So one of the ways that the curriculum tries to help students build their creativity is to have them do some creative projects. They'll do a couple of tutorial lessons, maybe one or two, and then they'll do a projects lesson where we give you some suggestions and ideas for enhancements and some resources for how to do those enhancements, but we don't tell you directly how to do them. So the students get to tinker around and play around with App Inventor in order to try to solve those. We encourage you to have students work in pairs for many of these App Inventor tutorials and projects so that they have each other for support as well. Okay. Kathy, any immediate questions I can answer as I'm looking at the curriculum pages here?
Thanks, Jen. We have a question about, does the curriculum come in any other languages, like Spanish?
Right, at the moment, it does not. It's on our to-do list, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it done for next fall. If there's big demand for it, we'll make it a priority, though. Okay, so I just wanted to show you corresponding lesson plan on the Teach side. So again, these are the teacher materials, and on the unit overview page, you're going to get some information about how it aligns with the CS Principles Framework, as well as this kind of table that gives you an overview of the lessons, the time it takes, the learning objectives that are addressed, and then the different kinds of assessments or classroom activities that are a part of that lesson right there. When you go to an individual lesson, then you'll be able to see here are lesson formats. So this is the detailed alignment with the CSP framework and the different activities that happen during it. Underneath that, there's the kind of time-based learning activities section where it breaks it down for you in terms of how to walk through the lesson with your students. Underneath that, there's some of these little accordions, these not really pop-up, but expandable sections that have assessment information, differentiation, some more background knowledge that you as a teacher might find helpful in order to teach the lesson. Sometimes there's teaching tips there, just generally useful pieces for you as a teacher to help make that lesson go a little bit smoother. Underneath that is a professional development reflection. So these are the kinds of questions that you might be discussing during your professional development sessions with Shannon in the spring. We'll ask that you actually answer those questions in your own portfolio as well as the student questions, and then you'll have some time to discuss them as a group there too. Okay. The other feature that I wanted to point out on the Teach side is that we have a unit devoted to pedagogy and inclusive and effective computer science teaching. So in here, we want to talk about and address ways that we can have inclusive classrooms, especially in computer science, where we do have some presentation and making sure that students in our class feel like they can be and see themselves as a computer scientist. So there's some activities in here that you would go through during the professional development. Some of them we revisit during the academic year as part of webinars. But you can see, pair programming is listed, so that gives you a little bit more of the background of why you might want to have students work in pairs during those App Inventor tutorials and projects. Talk a little bit about POGIL, which is process-oriented guided inquiry learning, which is one of the strategies we use in some of the lessons too. So this is just support material to help those pedagogies go more smoothly as you teach the course. All right, I think that's it in terms of the teacher and student branches. We're certainly happy to answer more questions about those later on, but I'll turn it over to Shannon then to talk about the professional development itself in more detail.
Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Chandan Sarkar. I'll be serving as master teacher for this PD. The PD dates are going to be from January 29th, 2018 through April 28th. And typically the way we run our PD here at Mobile CSP is that we have you, the teacher, take the course and do the exact same lessons that your students will be doing the following year. So we're going to basically put you through the course materials as if you were the student. Now, to help you in this process, we're going to be having Google Hangouts regularly. And in addition to that, you're of course also free to email me at any time. And depending on whether you're a little bit stuck or a lot stuck, I'll typically respond with either an email or a suggestion to have a one-on-one Google Hangout with you to try and address your specific issues. During the group Hangouts, our typical goal is to share with the other teachers who are taking the PD what the specific challenges were and what you did to overcome them. And on the one-on-ones, obviously, I can address your individual needs a little bit more carefully. We've gone through this approach, both in person and online, several times already, and it's proven to be highly effective. We've gotten good feedback from teachers with high levels of satisfaction, and we hope to duplicate that again with this upcoming PD here in the spring. Jen, is there anything else you wanted me to cover, or is that basically it?
I think that's probably about it. Maybe just a little bit on like the amount of time we expect teachers to complete. So, you know, the goal is 90 hours total, but how you see that, envision that working out for teachers on a weekly basis.
Yeah, so I think that because this particular PD has been spread out over 12 weeks, we expect essentially about an hour a day. So we were expecting teachers to commit about 6 to 7 hours a week. We realize you all have busy schedules and have other things going on, so there is some flexibility here, and because it is an online PD, you probably have a little bit more flexibility than you would if it was an in-person class. But I think that the 1 hour a day or 6 to 7 hours a week is a good sort of benchmark to keep in mind here.
All right. You want to give a little bit of information about yourself and your background and your
Sure.
philosophy for PD?
Okay, so once again, my name is Shannon Sarkar, and during the day, I teach computer science at West Hill High School in Stamford, Connecticut. I've been involved with the Mobile CSP group for, I think, about 3.5 years now, and I've loved every minute of it. And you see my email address up on the screen there, and you're welcome to contact me ahead of this PD if you have any questions or you're not really sure if this is the right PD for you. And overall, you know, my strategy for the PD is to be sort of lurking in the background, but ready to help you at any stage. And this is one of those things. That's my dog in the background. Sorry. One of those things that is best learned by doing yourself. But I'm going to be there to help you as much as I possibly can. And we're going to be. Hold on one second.
No worries, Shannon. This is one of the things I think that happens that people wonder about developing community online. And one of my favorite lines is to say, yeah, the minute your kids run through in the background, or the dog barks, or the cat meows, or walks across your keyboard, you start learning a lot about each other. So
anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah. So in terms of the actual PD itself, like I said, my goal is to have meetings probably once or twice a week, and you're encouraged to check in at least once a week, but if we have more frequent meetings than that, the other meetings would obviously be optional for you to attend. And we're going to have little projects for you to do in the meantime to simulate the projects that students would have for their AP exam submission, and in almost every other way to have you act just like a student would act throughout the course.
Great, thank you. So I'll just point out the registration link and information just so everybody is aware of where to go. If you're on the Mobile CSP website, then there's a professional development link. This is that professional development page. You probably already submitted the interest form, and this is how you found out about the webinar tonight. What you want to do is scroll down to the bottom here where it says register for spring 2018 PD and click on that link, and that will open up a Google form that you would submit. This is just going to collect information about you. Once you've submitted that, we'll give you the information about how to submit a payment through Eventbrite. Okay. I'll also point out that we do have a scholarship application that opened up today. So there are some partial scholarships available. You'll click the scholarships link there or under the menu. And then the scholarship application is linked right here. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to submit that, and we'll get those reviewed before the spring PD so that you know if you received one for it. Okay, Cassie, I will stop screen sharing here and we'll turn it over for questions then to see if anybody has questions about the PD, how it's run, about the curriculum.
Yeah, this is a good time to jump in, a good transition since we ended on this. Jen or Shannon, can we talk a little bit about the price of the PD and what comes with that?
Sure. So this is an extended PD, which means that the cost is going to be $2,500 for the professional development. And as a part of that, you will receive that support from Shannon during the spring semester, and then you'll receive academic year support as well. So as you teach the course, you'll be in a group with Shannon and the other teachers, and he'll be there to support you. The larger mobile CSP community will be there to support you. You're also going to get access to our midterm and final exams so that you can use those in the course as well. Oh, and you will have access to the teacher dashboard. I didn't demo that earlier, but all those self-check questions that students answer on those lessons, the teacher dashboard gives you access to their responses so you can keep track of where they're at in the course and how they're doing on answering those questions. Anything else I'm missing there, Cassie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a question. If you have computer science experience, would online versus in-person be better?
Good question. I think the online piece is more to do about your personal learning style. So in my experience, students or teachers who are successful online are people who can who have good time management skills. So because there isn't somebody or like a classroom that you have to be at and in a room, physical room with somebody at a particular point in the day, you have to remember to get into the online course and complete the materials. So somebody who has good time management skills is a good fit for online, or somebody who just has a really busy schedule or not really busy, just a hard schedule where it would make it difficult for you to go to things face to face. I know, like, I would never be able to do some graduate work unless I went to an online program.
I also want to add into that for the last 3 years, we've been conducting a research project. So we're part of a National Science Foundation grant. And some of our research has shown that our online and in-person PDs are very comparable. So if you're wondering which one's better.
I'm the only non-dog person on this call. I also happen to be in my work office, so there's no dogs here either. But I saw there was a question, how many days of training in face-to-face PD? So just to clarify, first of all, we don't have any face-to-face PD going on in spring semester. We will have some face-to-face PD during the summer. And depending on which version is the best fit for you, we have an immersion option, which means that it's pretty much a 1 week long professional development. And for that one, you're together all week long, 5 days face-to-face. There's a little bit of online work that we ask you to do ahead of time, but it's 5 weeks online together. The other professional development option is an extended one. So we recommend immersion for experienced computer science teachers, but it's totally up to you which one you want to select. If you haven't taught computer science before, then we recommend that you do the extended PD, and that's what this spring, the one in the spring is, where it's about 90 hours long. Most of the hybrid sites or the sites that are going to offer extended PD in person are going to do that first week together. Then they'll do 2 weeks online and then another week together, or maybe just like half a week together at the end. We're leaving that a little bit up to each of the sites and the schedules that they have locally. So it might vary a bit, but generally it's 1 week face-to-face, 2 weeks online, and about 1 week face-to-face.
We had a question about the locations of the face-to-face PDs, and those, we are working on the dates, on finalizing the dates, but you can find those on our website. So I'll post the link to that. Jen or Shannon, do you have anything to add?
I would just say that if you're not in one of those locations, but you think you've got a group of teachers in your area that wants to have professional development, awesome. We can look and see if we can find a master teacher who can come to your area and offer it if you're really interested in face-to-face PD. Sometimes districts want to sign up a group of teachers at a time. So if your district is interested in that, or if you have a cooperative of a couple of districts, absolutely. Okay, any other questions? All right, let's see, if you have any follow-up questions that didn't get answered tonight, you are more than welcome to email us at info@mobilecsp.org. And I see the email address was just posted in the chat window there on the YouTube page. So, use that to get in touch with us. Cassie or Pauline, who are our two lovely staff members, answer that email on a regular basis and can send questions to Shannon and myself if needed. All right. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Again, send us emails if you got more questions. We look forward to hearing from you and hope that you join us to be a part of the mobile CSP community.
Thank you, everyone.
Mhm.